Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Welcome in. We hope you had a wonderful Labor Day weekend. It is Tuesday, September. Oh my God, I can't believe we're already in September. September 3rd, 2024. We hope you all had once again, wonderful Labor Day weekend. We had a nice 3-day weekend here at Horizon Trust. Claudia, welcome back and thank you for joining me today.
Yes, absolutely. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have everyone in here today. We're going to be doing a Q&A session with everyone. So we're going to be trying to answer everyone's questions. But just because we have reached September, there's some important kind of like tax strategies that we need to kind of talk about real quick that I wanted to bring up during this particular session, just because we're getting close to the end of the year, if you can believe it. We're right there at the end. It's and before
Last quarter.
last quarter. And honestly, before you know it, it's going to be 2025. The holidays will just make everything fly by. So, for those of you joining us today, welcome. We're so happy to have you here today. We will be asking you to submit your questions so that Claudia and I can try to answer them to the best of our abilities. Anything that we don't know, we will not make up an answer or hallucinate anything like Chat GPT might do so if you ask it, but we will get back to you if we are unable to answer your question. So just before we get started, as usual, let us know where you're coming in from. We'd love to kind of see where everyone's at and how you're all joining us here today. And we'll get started here in a couple minutes once kind of everyone joins and settles in. Um, Claudia, again, thank you for joining me today. It was a nice Labor Day weekend, little 3 days off,
It
and
was.
it does a nice little reset.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I went to Bryce Canyon. That was really nice. Crisp air, getting out of the city for a little
God, that
bit.
sounds amazing.
Yeah, it was really nice. It wasn't as cold as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be, you know how I am with the cold. I don't really like it,
Hmm.
but it wasn't that bad. It was 60s, so it was perfect for bike riding and just getting out of the city. So it was nice.
Sounds
Nice drive
amazing.
out there too.
Sounds amazing. Yeah, I stayed in town all weekend, which was also nice. I didn't have to deal with any of the Labor Day weekend travel or anything like that. So it was really nice. I did not go outdoors because it was still hot here in
It was hot,
Vegas.
right?
Yeah, but I went to the gym. I got my workouts in, so it was still very enjoyable and what I'd consider a healthy weekend in my regards.
I love that.
Joy, welcome from Southwest Florida, Westminster, Massachusetts. Carlton, welcome, welcome. And Francisco, joining us from New Jersey. Welcome, everyone. Um,
We have many other people on there. Where else are we joining them? Lisa from Minneapolis.
yeah,
This webinar is all for you guys. We do these every once in a while because we feel like we have enough questions so that we can go ahead and fill a webinar of them. So we can ask anything. And like Alex said, if we don't know the answer or if it's something that we have to research, we'll just schedule a call and we'll let you, we'll go ahead and get back to you in the next couple of days to go ahead and get you an answer.
yeah, absolutely. A lot of these questions that you guys ask during these webinars, and the reason why we find them so valuable and why there's so much value in them for you as well, is because they tend to be a lot of the questions that our concierge team hears on a day-to-day basis, and they might get the same question repeated, especially around similar times, depending on what the question is. So if there's something with tax filing, extensions, contributions, stuff like that, all of that is always very intriguing around certain times of the year. So these Q&A sessions are very important for that. So we'll have our little notes that kind of lead into the end of the year and what you should kind of be thinking about as the 2024 comes to a close and what you should start thinking about for 2025 to make sure that you and your tax strategy is set to be prepared for the following year, quarter, or whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely the time to prepare for next year and to prepare for your contributions for 2024. The year hasn't ended yet, but you know how much you're scheduled to earn and how much your business is scheduled to earn if you have a 401k. So there's a lot of tax strategies that can happen right now in the next couple of months. So yeah, if you have any questions, we're not tax advisors, but we are here to go ahead and tell you what the rules are for retirement accounts. So we'll be more than happy to answer those for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of as we get started here, we'll kind of start in just a moment as well, but feel free to start adding your questions into the Q&A section of Zoom right here. It'll make it so much easier for us to be able to answer questions just kind of in the order that they're coming in, and it'll leave the chat open for conversation. So be sure to kind of be a part of the conversation through the chat function. Use emojis, use everything. We love seeing that because it shows your excitement of telling us kind of like how involved you are and how engaged you are with the conversation that's happening, as well as allowing us to ask additional questions and get an answer without losing questions through the chat. So be sure to use that Q&A function. You can start dropping in your questions, and we'll get started here in just a moment. The one quick thing, like Claudia did mention, and I'm trying to pull up my system, and of course, technology never works when you need it to work. So I'm trying to pull it up here real quick. Uh, um,
What are you trying to pull up?
our disclaimer.
Oh, I cannot help you with that.
No,
That is you.
yeah, that's 100% me, but no worries. I mean, I can read it aloud. I have it right here, but I wanted to kind of pop it up on the screen for everyone so that it was kind of clear. But since it's not loading, I'll just read it aloud. If I can get it to load in a moment, I'll pop it up on the screen as well. But just so everyone is aware, Horizon Trust Company is a passive custodian, and as such, we only perform the duties of a custodian. So we don't provide any advice on investments, sell any offers, or have any tax or legal advice. For that, you are going to want to speak with a professional CPA, a licensed attorney, and someone that works in an expert in one of those fields. We know about self-directing, and that is what we provide in value in these webinars and sessions every 2 weeks, every Tuesday, biweekly. So feel free to always kind of hop on and join us. Um, Looks like we're getting some questions in, so we can kind of go ahead and get started with some of them. Claudia, do you mind reading them off for me?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So I have Lisa here. I have only used my solo K to lend to other real estate investors through an LLC. Can I park cash in a savings account? How do I do that?
Yes. So if you're using an LLC, you have a checkbook LLC is the scenario that I'm kind of going with here. You have full control of that checkbook LLC. So you can open a savings account, whether it's a high yield savings account or anything else. You can have a brokerage account, have traditional stocks, bonds, whatever you want to do with that money when it's just sitting and waiting. That's what you can do with it. You have that control. As long as those accounts are opened in the name of that checkbook LLC, that keeps their money organized. You don't want to mix the money with your own personal funds and with the funds from the retirement account, because then you're commingling and the IRS doesn't like that. So as long as that money stays separate, it's in its own account, you can do what you want with it as long as it's not one of the items that's prohibited by the IRS, such as like arts, collectibles, and things like that. But pretty much everything else would be open game, which in your scenario was a savings account. So that would work just fine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the beauty of the checkbook LLC that you diversify and you can just keep it in the name of the LLC. So Lisa, you would just go ahead and set up an account, savings account in the name of the LLC, and any interest that is accrued from that, then it would go back into the LLC as interest for your retirement account. So that's how it works. Um, all right, we have Glenn here. I am a 61-year-old. I have IRA from a previous employment and a 401k from another previous employer. To start taking ends, would it be better to combine or draw separately? So this is a great question. It would actually, if you have two, you can combine them. And what that does is that it gives you more funds to go ahead and do an investment depending on what you're looking to do. And also you won't have annual fees for two. You would only have it for one. So any accounts that you have, unless it's tax-free accounts, if it's a tax-free account, then it can be combined with tax deferred because you have to keep them separate at that point. Any tax-free has to grow tax-free. Any tax deferred has to grow tax deferred so that when you take out your distributions, you have to pay taxes at that point. So if you have two IRAs or an IRA and a 401k that are tax deferred for the most part, that's usually what our clients have. Then you can go ahead and open an account here. We'll transfer it over and both accounts will be combined.
Perfect. Next question here. We have James Davidson. Claudia, have a five corp that I am the only employee of, S corp. Sorry. Uh, want to add my wife for one of the payroll this year and pay the. Oh, losing my questions.
Say max and deferred monies in that one payroll for 2024. What is my best option to do this where every penny of that payroll would go into a deferred plan? That's a great question and a great strategy, honestly. You would have to add your wife as an owner of the S corp. So in order for her to have the ability to have a solo 401k in that S corp, she would have to be an owner. So add her as an owner, then you'll make her an employee where she'll be able to take payroll. And then if you have enough profit from the business and you have payroll that shows that she can do that kind of contribution, you're gonna set up a solo 401k for her and she would do the contribution that in. It is important to know that the 401ks have to be established by the end of the year of the contribution. So if you're doing the contribution for 2024, then you do need to set up the solo 401k by the end of 2024. Doesn't mean that you have to actually contribute to it. It won't be an active solo K if you don't have at least $1,000 contribution, but you don't have to do the full contribution. You can still wait until you do the taxes for that LLC at the beginning of 2025, but the solo 401k does have to be open by 2024. So just keep that in mind. Add her as an owner, set her up with payroll, do a 401k with us, and then we'll go ahead and go over what the contributions are and what your next steps are.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Getting a lot of questions on
Yeah, we are.
on LLCs.
Well,
They're a very hot topic item. The LLCs,
they are.
they always hit, and it's the diversification and the control that comes with them that people tend to love. So you're already here, you're self-directing, and you're taking full advantage of being able to control your retirement accounts. So that checkbook LLC is just the next step. And I know we talk about it here a lot, but it's just because of such great value that they provide for you, and that flexibility that you're able to do with those accounts, because it takes your self-directing experience to the next level.
Mhm. Absolutely. All right, next question. Let's go with Lionel. Can my husband and I combine hours? So the if you're saying can you combine, so there's two sets to this question. Can you combine accounts here at Horizon Trust or in any custodian? The answer is no. So everybody, it is an individual retirement account, so everybody has to have their own accounts. You wouldn't be able to set up one account and then put all the money in there. What you could do is you could set up an LLC. So if you set up a checkbook LLC and you and your husband or you and your wife want to go ahead and put your funds together so that you only have one account to manage, you don't have to go to Horizon Trust two times every time you're doing a deal. You would just set up the LLC and put the funds in there, and depending on what the percentages are when the funds go into the LLC, that's how you would go ahead and know what goes up into Horizon when the time to do distributions are. So let's say you had $100,000, your wife had $100,000, we would set up an LLC and you would own 50% of it, your husband would own 50% of it. And then whenever you're done with that LLC and you're ready to take distributions, then the percentage of profits will go up in 50% up into Horizon Trust. So that's one way to combine. But can you have an account here with two accounts with two people, one account? No, we cannot.
Yeah. Great answer, Claudia. Thank you so much for that. James is asking, what is the max solo 401k contribution for 2024? So that's a great question, James. And it's a little bit of a complicated answer. The simple version is actually going to be that you can contribute $69,000. And if you're over the age of 50, you can do an additional $7,500. And this information is available on our website, horizontrust.com. We do have a contribution form that we do update annually based on IRS regulations. So you can go to the form section of our website and you'll see it right there as 2024 contribution limits. The reason why your question is also a little complicated, James, is because a 401k is specific to how the business itself is operating. So your business and your accountant would sit down, look at the finances of the business, and be able to determine how much you, as the business owner or as the business, can contribute, and you, as the individual, can contribute. Because you have to remember that in the 401k scenario, it is opened because you are an entrepreneur, are self-employed of your business. So you are the both the business owner and the business itself. So you're two individuals in that scenario. So you and your accountant are going to sit together and find out what that number is. We at Horizon Trust can't tell you what that number is because we're not CPAs, but we can identify what the maximum allowable amount that you can contribute is, and that's just per IRS regulations, which again is on our little cheat sheet on our website, horizontrust.com. Mm,
Yeah, it's a great answer. We are getting a lot a lot of questions, so this is great. Let's keep going. We are going to ask somebody to come on stage with us if we get to a question where we need a little bit more explanation and just kind of have a dialogue that way. But for right now, I think I can go ahead and take these. These are simple answers. So I have Dan here that is asking, I have a checkbook with you guys. How do I word the name of a brokerage account and where do I sign up for one? So the name of the brokerage account is going to be the name of the LLC. So it's not going to be Horizon Trust for the benefit of or anything like that. It would be whatever LLC name that you chose for that checkbook control. That would be the name of the brokerage account. And you can shop around. And honestly, it does not matter to us what brokerage account you use. It's that we're not really advertising anybody. We're passive custodians, so you would be able to do your own due diligence, and whoever has the ability to do LLCs as the name of the or open the account in the name of the LLC, you can go ahead and use for that.
yeah, we do have some options available also in our investment corner that you could use as a jumping off point if you're not particularly sure of where you'd like to go. We have some options there. And again, that investment corner is particularly available to our clients. So you do have to be a Horizon Trust client to gain access to that. And that one's easy enough. You can kind of just reach out to us if you don't know the password because it is password protected. You can just shoot us an email and we can verify that you are a client and we'll give you the password so that you can gain access to that.
Mhm. I have a great question from David. He is asking, can I buy gold with my checkbook IRA LLC? The answer to that is yes. The only thing that you have to be aware of is that you have to let your broker, whoever you're buying the precious metals through, know that it's an IRA or qualified funds. The reason why that's important is because the precious metals have to be kept in a depository. You're not allowed to have precious metals that you buy through your retirement account funds be kept at your house or anywhere where you have access to them. They have to be kept in a depository. You have to have the depository in the name or the depository account in the name of your checkbook LLC. So your broker will be able to go over that with you. Just make sure that they know that that's the kind of purchase that you're doing, that it's not a personal account or a personal LLC, that it is an IRA LLC, and they'll go over what the process is with that. But that's a great question. There's a lot of people that are buying precious metals this year. So we're definitely having a lot of an influx in that kind of transaction.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely been a lot of value in the precious metal space. People are identifying that as a very long term investment. So you're able to then hold that for a long period of time. So, people love it. It's a
Yeah.
good way to fight inflation because the value of gold or precious metals will not waver as much as the value of printed money. Let's see here.
Somebody's asking, are we using the chat or are we using the questions? I'm using both of them. So we have questions in all of them. I promise you we're getting to each of your questions, but we're definitely using all of them. Wherever you want to put your question, we will go ahead and answer it. Um, which one? We answered that one. So I have Jerry here asking, hi, I have a self-directed IRA tied to an LLC that I just opened. What are the differences between this versus the checkbook LLC option? It's the same thing. So there's different terms that are used for this type of LLC. It can be a checkbook LLC, an self-directed IRA LLC. It can be a 401k LLC, a solo K LLC. Basically, anything that identifies that LLC as qualified funds and that you won't be able to use it personally. That would be the term that I've heard all sorts of terms. But to answer your question, Jerry, it's the same thing. The SDIRA LLC and a checkbook LLC are the same thing.
The only thing with Jerry's question that maybe drew up a little red flag with me, and not that it's a red flag, just maybe a yellow flag, is it the sponsoring company LLC? Because if it's the sponsoring company LLC of a 401k account, then that's a little bit different than
Mhm.
the actual checkbook LLC. Because in order to establish a 401k plan, it does need to be sponsored by a business. So
Mhm.
if your business, we'll call it ABC Business, is sponsoring Alex Padilla's 401k plan. So if ABC Business is sponsoring that plan, ABC Business is not my checkbook LLC. That is simply my sponsoring company LLC, which that is a different scenario. But then if Alex Padilla's Horizon Trust self-directed plan wants to open a checkbook LLC, it could open 123 LLC, which would then be my checkbook LLC. So there's ABC and then there's 123. There are two different LLCs that serve two different purposes. One is just kind of the business that you're operating that allows you to have that 401k plan. And the other one is allowing you to diversify further on those funds that are within your 401k plan. Hope that clarifies a little bit. I know the ABC and the 123 kind of makes it a little bit confusing, but I thought that would be a simple way to
We need a
explain that.
we need a
We need the whiteboard. I know.
whiteboard.
We're gonna get to that eventually.
If it didn't answer, Jerry, just let us know and we can have you jump on and have a dialogue with us.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
whichever the scenario was that you were asking, just let us know if that answered your question.
Absolutely. Let's see.
He said thanks for the clarification. So I think that answered it.
Perfect.
Perfect. All right. So I have Brent here that says, I turned 59 and on October 22nd. When can I start taking money out of my Roth IRA? Um, you can start taking money from your Roth IRA at any point. Um, the required minimum distribution age, if that's what you're asking, is it just went up.
Is it 79 now?
Uh,
Let's see here.
it just went up for everybody. So I want to make sure that I give you the right answer. Distribution age.
Yeah, from if the money's sitting in a Roth account while Claudia looks up that information, the Roth money. So I'm only 29, and I have a Roth IRA here with Horizon Trust. My money, the money that I've put into it has to sit in there or my interest has to sit in there for at least 5 years before I can take that money out. But any money that I have contributed, I'm able to take out earlier without any penalties because that's the advantage of a Roth IRA. The money has already been taxed, so there's not going to be a double tax. There's just certain requirements on that interest that's earned or on those earnings that you're making that have to wait in the Roth IRA so that you're not taking them out too early. So I don't have to wait until retirement age or much later to take my money. I can take it out a lot earlier.
That's correct.
And then 72,
No, it is 73.
70.
But Roth IRAs do not have a required minimum distribution age. It's only for tax deferred accounts. So
Mhm.
that he said, no, can I take it at 50? Can you take it at 59 and a half? Yes, you can. The answer is
Mhm.
yes.
Yes.
Right. If I take out money from my self-directed IRA, can I have the taxes taken out at the time of the withdrawal? Yes, that would be a tax deferred account. You can either choose to take the taxes when you do the distribution from us. So we would pay the IRS on behalf of you. If you overpaid, then you'll get a tax return or it'll be offset when you do your taxes, or you can choose to do it at the time of your taxes being filed. For 401ks, though, we do have, and it's not us, it's the IRS that requires to do 20%,
20%.
a 20% withholding. So even if you're not due for a 20% withholding, we have to do it on our end. So when you do your taxes the next year, then you'll get that back. But there's no way around it. We do have to do that 20% withholding, and that's only for 401ks.
Yeah, and when you're doing it from us directly, and I think this was James that was asking that. So James, when you're doing that from us, as you know, Horizon Trust is very form heavy. We do require a form to do any sort of kind of operation with your account. So our distribution request forms do ask you those questions on would you like to have any withholding. So like Claudia mentioned, if it's a 401k account, there will be that 20% withholding that is required for federal taxes. Any state taxes is optional or non-existent depending on your state. We're here in Nevada. Taxes aren't required for Nevada, but say if we were one state over in California, then they were. So it just kind of depends on the scenario and the type of account that you have. But our forum will help guide you through that and help answer your questions to make sure that you kind of get everything that you need in your assistance. And if for whatever reason you need further assistance, you can always contact our concierge team, either via phone or email, and we'll be able to assist you as well through that. Mm, let's see. Quite a few questions in the chat as well.
Yeah. I have one here from Wanda that says, "Can I keep a viatical IRA in the same account as my gold IRA?" I'm not sure I know what that is.
I'm not sure what that is either.
Yeah. Maybe Wanda wants to join us so she can explain what that means. Viatic.
Let's see if I can find Wanda so we can have her participate with us.
I think it's a sort of life settlement.
Let's see. Let's see, Wanda, how are you doing? Are you able to hear us all right? I think I did give you permission to unmute yourself. So if you're able to speak and you can jump on, please jump on with us. We'd love to talk with you. Let's see. Wait, how to go IRA.
It was
Yeah.
Hello,
earlier in the
hello.
session. There she
Hi.
is.
Hey, Wanda.
Hi.
Wanda?
It's not Wanda, it's Stephen. I was in the securities industry, so my wife relegates these tasks to me. Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha. Hi, Steven. How
Okay.
you doing?
Good. Okay. A viatical. I don't know if you've ever seen the ads on TV. We'll buy your life insurance policy
Yes.
and
Mm-hmm.
possibly give you some of it back at the end. Blah blah blah. Well, they buy the insurance policy and then they bundle them just like a Ginny Mae, and they sell them to people like my wife, and they say you're gonna get much better interest than in a CD, and hers happens to be in an IRA. Okay, and the question is, does your would your firm be able to keep that kind of an IRA in the same account as her gold IRA that she does have with you?
So when you say it's in the name of her IRA, is she using a custodian that has that as an alternative investment?
Well, she keeps it with she keeps it with a custodian. I think it's Provident Trust. I don't know if you've ever
Okay.
heard of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're familiar with them. Yeah,
You
so if
know,
Provident Trust can hold it as an alternative investment, then so can we. It's basically just an alternative investment. We would have to see paperwork, supporting documentation, and change the name that it's characterized right now. So right now it would be in Horizon in Provident Trust FBO, your wife's name. And the gold IRA, who is that with?
That's with us.
Gold actually with you.
So the gold IRA is with Horizon Trust, and then
Okay.
the
Yeah,
other account is with Provident.
Okay.
Yeah.
right. And
Okay.
they're both IRAs, and the question is, can they both be kept in her account? At could we transfer it over to you, just like
Yes, the answer would be yes. So we would just have to go ahead and go over that process with you and start that transfer. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So go ahead and you can send us over an email to operations@horizontrust.com with that documentation. We'll have our compliance team look at that and just make sure that it is an asset that we can transfer over and make sure it's also in the same type of account as the gold IRA. Because if the gold IRA is maybe like a tax deferred account and this one's in a tax free account, then those are two different types of accounts, which you then can't merge. But as long as they're the same type of account, we should be able to do the transfer. But that documentation that you have, any supporting documents that say what the kind of plan is or anything like that, that should tell us everything.
Okay, so yeah, they're both IRAs, so I'm imagine that would not be a problem.
Perfect.
What I was hoping to do is consolidate the accounts and hopefully save on the fees. Uh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
is there
that's
an
exactly,
additional,
yeah.
yeah, is there an additional fee for having a second IRA with you?
It wouldn't be a second IRA. It would be the same one. We would just be combining them and consolidating into one. So there's no additional fees to do additional transfers, no transactional fees. So there wouldn't be any kind of fees on our side for that transfer to happen to us.
Correct.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Thank you for jumping on with us. All right. Great question.
Yeah.
That one.
Okay, so I have Robert here who is asking, I recently moved my Roth IRA into Horizon. I am investing the money and what taxes will I be responsible for once the return comes in? So a Roth IRA is a tax-free account. That means that you will not owe any taxes as long as it stays in the account. And when you take out the distribution, you won't be paying any taxes because you already paid taxes at the time that you did the contribution. So it grows tax free. That's the biggest benefit of a Roth IRA and why people love them because they can go ahead and grow their retirement account tax free for the duration of the account. Great question. Okay, so I have Lenny here that wants to talk about non-recourse loans. Does Horizon have bank referrals and have they been vetted out? That's a great question, Lenny. Yes, we do. We have so a non-recourse loan is when you take your retirement account and you partner it with a special type of loan that basically is not going to be in the name of your it's not going to be in your personal it's not a personal guarantee loan. It's basically saying that the IRA will be the only guarantee. And if something happens, then obviously the property will be the collateral. We do have banks that work with us. Well, they don't work with us that have been vetted out that are reputable and that we trust
Mhm. Yep.
on our website. So if you go to horizontrust.com under the investment corner, you'll be able to see the couple of options that we have. I think there's like 3 or 4
Yeah.
and we're working on 1 or 2 more, but it's definitely something that you can look into and you can talk to them. Each of them have their own rates and their own process. So you would have to talk to them to see what the process would be. But we would support that kind of transaction once it comes over to us.
Yeah, and the investment corner is a great resource to check out if you are a client and you have questions about certain investments, asset classes, and stuff like that, because the options that are there have at least been vetted by Horizon Trust to be kind of good for our clients and that our clients tend to do to help them with their own self-directed journey. But since we are still a passive custodian, you are still responsible to do your own due diligence, make sure the investment is right for you, and that the company or bank you're working with is still the correct option or best option for yourself. Um, I want to answer this question from the chat. Carlos asked, I'm having an existing SDIRA with Horizon that's tied to an LLC. If I have another LLC, I'd like to start adding some gains into it from my SDIRA gains. How can I partner them together? So that one you can't really do, Carlos. So the two LLCs are going to be different, even though they're businesses. Um, as long as you're kind of the owner of both of them, you can't do that because that's commingling funds. So that's what the IRS doesn't permit, and that would be kind of a way of getting your self-directed account. In essence, the word the IRS uses is kind of blown up. It just kind of just shatters it and it has to be dissolved. So we wouldn't be able to hold the asset anymore. And then that entire account would be penalized by the IRS as a full distribution of the account because you're commingling funds. Um, if you have two checkbook LLCs, as long as they're the same type of account, so if you have two different Roth LLCs for whatever reason, you can then do that because they're like accounts and they're both still within a Roth retirement bucket, so they are still protected. But me having a personal ABC business LLC and then 123 checkbook LLC, those two cannot share funds in that scenario. The only way funds can go from the 123 checkbook LLC to the ABC LLC is by going back to Horizon and then going to ABC. So the money has to go in and out in a linear fashion. You can't kind of dodge us. The IRS doesn't like that. But depending on the type of account, you'll have to look at the taxes and all of that before you do move money.
That's correct. So we have a long question from Diana. Let me go ahead and read it out loud and see if we can go ahead and answer it. So she had an original question, but she reworded it. My husband and I are 62 and find ourselves a bit retirement investment heavy and cash poor. We want to convert those old 401ks to self-directed checkbook accounts, but also want to post out some cash on occasion. Can you tell me the rules around how much we can take out of those old 401ks, not Roths, and or the new self-directed accounts annually without triggering tax issues? Thanks. So the answer is if they are tax deferred accounts, you are going to be paying taxes when you extract any of the money. It doesn't matter how old you are or if you're at retirement age. So you will be, but you can work with with your tax strategist to see how to pay the least amount of taxes, so that it doesn't put you in the next tax bracket, so that you're not taking out too much, and unnecessarily. Maybe you can go ahead and take it out the year after, or just kind of space it out so that you're not paying a lot in taxes. If they're Roth accounts, then you won't pay any taxes, but we would have to look at your specific scenario, and maybe look at the statements for the type of accounts that you have, and give you a better answer as to how that would work. But
She,
you would be paying taxes.
yeah, she said not Roth, so there would most likely be taxes that would need to be paid. So that does depend. But yeah, working with your financial advisor or CPA is going to be the best option to identify kind of how much money you should take out. If there's a particular year where you're in a lower tax bracket and you can take maybe an additional 20,000 out of your 401k without jumping to the next tax bracket, that might be kind of the starting point where you can kind of kick off from. But working with your CPA is going to be the best way to identify what that value is going to be. And you kind of want to just make sure you're looking at this, especially now. You said you were 62 for you and your husband, because once you reach RMD age, so that's your required minimum distribution age, which at the moment is 73, but with life expectancy is getting longer. That's why the IRS keeps pushing them back. It used to be 72, then it was 72 and a half. Now it's 73. So they kind of just keep moving them as people tend to live longer. So you want to make sure that you are kind of taking your money out in a way where you're not going to be paying as much tax as possible.
Depends on your situation, how much you're making now, how much you'll make in the future, how much and so that'll go ahead and determine it. But at age 59 and a half, you can start taking distributions without the penalty. So that is something that to keep in mind. But you will pay taxes. Like okay. So I have David that's asking, if I'm not personally considered an accredited investor, would my checkbook IRA be considered an accredited investor? No, accredited investor is a personal thing that your tax accountant actually has to deem you and give you a letter that basically says that you are. So the IRA market value can contribute to you becoming an accredited investor, but just that alone would not make it an accredited investor. But talk to your tax advisor and ask them, and have them look at the IRA market value and what your specific scenario is, and they'll be able to tell you if you could become an accredited investor. It's a good question. I like it.
Laura asked this question, and it was regarding her 401k that she gained half of from a spouse that she's no longer with. So she's aware of the penalties for taking money early, and if she borrows it, and federal and state taxes. So she's asking what options she has to access part of that money earlier than the age of 59 and a half. Laura, one of the things that you can do if you have a 401k with us here at Horizon Trust, you can actually take out a 401k loan. So a 401k loan is an IRS approved loan that you can take from your account. It is $50,000 or 50% of your account value. whichever is less. And that qualifies for 5 years. You do have to pay it back with interest. However, the interest does go back into your own account. So it is treated like an investment. So Horizon isn't making the money on those interest payments. That's entirely going to you. Ideally, you want to look at prime plus two. So whatever the market is going to be that prime, and then plus 2% is that additional amount. That's what you kind of want to be looking at. But it's recommended to kind of do your due diligence, and you can even speak with our team to find out kind of what that interest rate could be. But yeah, prime plus two is going to be the ideal scenario, and having that 401k will allow you to take a good portion of that money, like I said, up to $50,000 for 5 years without penalties, because that isn't a penalty active investment. That is just an IRS approved option that you can do that still is going to help grow your retirement account. And like I said, it was $50,000 or 50%, whichever is less. So that's because we're looking at your total account value. So if your account is only valued at $50,000, then you can only take $25,000, as that is that 50% maximum. But we'll look at your account and we can evaluate what that number is going to be and help you with that paperwork as well. So, Laura, if you're interested in this and if you do have a 401k with us, feel free to reach out to us. Give us a call tomorrow or just shoot us an email and we can get you set up on getting that 401k process started to get that loan.
Perfect. So I have somebody that's asking, they have an H-1B visa. How can I use my 401k? And so can I use a 401k and how? So you have to have earned income. So as long as you're having, I'm not familiar with that type of visa, but I'm thinking that it's like a work visa. As long as you have earned income, you can go ahead and set up an IRA or a 401k, and you can go ahead and do save taxes on that, do tax deferred type of accounts. So the answer is yes.
Yep. Can I roll over my retirement account to my current Roth IRA account? Yes, Nelda, this is your question. The answer is yes. If it's another Roth IRA, then the process is relatively simple and easy to do because they are similar accounts. If it is a tax deferred account, such as a 401k or a traditional IRA, then that would be a little bit more complicated of a process. We would open an account here at Horizon Trust that is the same type of account, at least defined by asset class. So if it's a tax deferred account, then we would open one of those, whether it's traditional or 401k, and then move your money into there. And then we could do what's called a Roth conversion. So that would convert that money, which you would have to pay the taxes on, to move it into the Roth account. But now that money is going to grow in your Roth retirement account tax free. So that's going to be the advantage there. If you still have many years of working to grow your retirement account, then that option is going to help you kind of avoid future taxes on that growth potential that your Roth IRA is currently doing.
That is correct.
Mm.
So, Tina is asking, are there fees associated to the checkbook LLC? Yes, because it is it's a separate kind of a service. It does have a fee associated to it. It has to have a specialized operating agreement with special wording that keeps it qualified. So we work with third party entity formation companies that have those at a discount rate for Horizon Trust account holders.
Absolutely. So we would definitely walk you through the process if that's something that you're interested in. And we'll assist you with that. And I'm just going to piggyback on that one because there's another question here that I've hopefully already answered, but Lionel, just in case I haven't, you were confused about the sponsoring versus the checkbook LLC. So for a 401k plan in particular, it needs a company to sponsor the 401k plan. That is IRS regulations. That's not Horizon Trust. So you must have a company to sponsor it. I'll take away the names that I was using earlier, and I'll say Alex Padilla's business is the sponsoring company, and that one is going to open a 401k for me. So that's going to do that. And then I'm going to open another one. And just to change the name a little bit, we'll say Claudia Guzman's Checkbook LLC is going to be that checkbook that is opened under the 401k. So there's three different steps. So there's Alex Padilla's business that then opens Alex Padilla's 401k, and then Alex Padilla's 401k opens Claudia Guzman's Checkbook LLC. So there are three different steps that kind of work in conjunction to get you to that Checkbook LLC. If it makes it a little bit easier, the sponsoring company, as mentioned, is only a requirement for the 401k. A traditional IRA, Roth IRA, SEP IRA, any other type of account, you can still have a checkbook LLC and don't need the sponsoring company. So we can take that one entirely out of the equation. And any retirement account that's self-directed with us, you can open a checkbook LLC and have that additional layer of control. Hopefully that clarifies it a little bit, Lionel. If not, we do have another video where we talk solely about checkbook LLCs. It's available on Greg's YouTube channel. So you can actually just go to YouTube, Greg Herleen, and catch that full one right there. And I believe it's with Greg and our president and CFO, Steve Little, who talk about checkbook LLCs. And they go into a great way of explaining everything just because they've been in the industry for so long. And Steve just knows this so well. So that would be a great video. Again, it's on Greg's YouTube channel. So you can just search Greg Herleen on YouTube, find that there, as well as this webinar will be available on there. We upload all of them onto the YouTube channel afterwards. So you can always catch the replay and go back and hear the answers to any of these and other questions that we've talked about on today and other days' episodes.
Yeah.
Perfect. We'll move right along here. And just because we are approaching 5 o'clock already,
Yeah.
the time flew by so
Or
quickly.
just do a giveaway, right?
We're
Are we
we're gonna do a giveaway, and that's what I was about
Greg
to mention.
always forgets to mention the giveaway. I guess we forgot to mention the giveaway. It's okay though.
Yeah, we didn't mention it at the beginning.
For
but
those of you that stayed, we have a giveaway.
Yeah, we're very happy you're still here because we're going to be doing a giveaway. It's a $100 Amazon gift card. So we're doing it to someone that's here in attendance because you are here. You're working to grow your retirement account. You're working to grow your control over your financial future. One thing that Greg says all the time, and I'm starting to piggyback, is no one cares more about your money than you do. Not me, not Claudia, not your CPA, and not your brother, sister's friend's cousin who happens to be your current financial advisor. They definitely don't care about your money more than you. So self-directing is the one way to have that control. And we want to reward you for being here. So we're going to have one lucky winner today for that Amazon gift card. So be sure to stick around. We'll do that here close to the top of the hour. All right, Claudia, I feel like we need to answer a couple more questions before we wrap up. So let's keep it going.
Do it. And if we didn't answer your question or you have additional questions, I'll have Alex put in a link so that you can set up an appointment with one of our IRA specialists. Obviously, we're here to answer any questions throughout the our hours here at Horizon. So we can definitely have you. Hi, Katie. How are you? We can definitely have you talk to one of our IRA specialists, and they'll go over anything that we didn't answer or that you just need more clarification on. I have Marva here that is asking, and to set up rollover IRA funds to a solo 401k through an LLC, do you also need to be working a 9 to 5 at that point? No. So we only set up 401ks for small business owners. So people that are in business for themselves. So if you want to go ahead and have if you have a job that is actually working, sorry, I'm like distracted with everything that's going on. If you have a job that is actually a 9 to 5 and working for another company, those aren't the kind of accounts that we set up. The kind of 401k accounts that we set up is if you're in business for yourself. So you have a company and you want to set up a solo 401k, that's what we set up. So to answer your question, you don't have to have a 9 to 5. Not with us, at least. Your company would offer that as part of your compensation plan or your benefits. So that would be something that you would talk to them about.
Victoria asked, how can I get money from life insurance to invest in rental property? So, Victoria, I only wanted to bring up your question because we did talk about life insurance last week or 2 weeks ago with Greg and Carson, because that's kind of Carson's expertise and area of knowledge. So, that's not our forte. We know that with Carson and the life insurance policies that kind of he works and helps people set up, there's a specialized wording, and that's kind of one of the key words within all these industries. It's specialized wording, because there's ways that you can do it with the IRS's permission, but everything has to be structured a certain way. So if your plan is structured that way, you should be able to take out money, but I'm not 100% sure. You'll most likely want to talk to whomever you set up your life insurance policy with and look over that documentation on what it's like, because that's not kind of a self-directed. It's similar, but not the same. So I don't want to get too much into that detail there, but that'll definitely help. Talk with whoever set up your plan. They should be able to answer that question for you.
Correct. All right. So I have Katie asking, we have an IRA and Roth IRA. Can we combine them into one investment? Sorry for the random hi. I hit enter too early. That's awesome. Yes, you can combine them into one investment. So you can either set up an LLC that you can combine both funds or both accounts into one LLC, or we would just send some funds from one account and some funds from the other to one investment. Well, however you want to go ahead and do that, you can definitely combine funds to into one investment so that you can get double the benefits basically into your accounts.
Yeah, commingling of retirement money is fine on your investments. There's still kind of certain regulations, but say Claudia and I want to go in on a rental property together, we can do that. We can put in money from her 401k and from my Roth IRA, and that'll be perfectly fine, because we're each doing our individual investment based on how much we're putting in. That's going to separate the percentages that we own in this investment, whether we're doing a 50-50 split, or if Claudia has put in more or if I put in more, then those percentages would be allocated accordingly based on how much money is going into the investment. But all of that would be structured in your deal. So your paperwork is going to reflect all of that information. So when we're processing that investment, all of that is going to be outlined.
Yeah. I have Kathy here that's asking. I have my solo K plan documents already and money in stocks at Fidelity. If I want to move it to you and I already have plan docs, but I just need a new custodian, how much does that cost me? That's a great question, Kathy. So what we would do is we would do a reinstatement of your 401k plan here at Horizon. Whether you want to terminate that over there at Fidelity and move all of your funds over, or you want to do a partial rollover of those funds, that would be up to you. The fees are really dependent on how much is coming over. So you would want to schedule an appointment with one of our specialists and they'll be able to go over your specifics. Just have your statements ready so that they can go ahead and guide you and make sure that they understand what you have, and they'll be able to go over that with you. So you can definitely diversify and have two accounts or just move everything over.
And that's a great answer. Thank you, Claudia. And before we do get to the giveaway, just be sure to stick around here for that. I do want to answer one last question, then we'll kind of get to the giveaway and do our little closing statements there. As mentioned, this is being recorded and we will have the replay available on Greg's YouTube channel. So Greg Herleen. You can also follow him on social media. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, however you like to call it. For me, it's going to stay Twitter. I don't care how many times they change that name. It is Twitter. But it's going to be great value following Greg. We post a lot of diversifying kind of topics on there. So to cover a lot of different angles. So all his social media platforms, it's at Greg Herleen. You can give it a follow and be sure to check it out. So this last question that I wanted to get to, and it's just because there's been a lot of real estate questions. We've talked about LLCs a bit. So you have the same basic outline. So Adrian asked, can you cover how we could buy an investment property within the solo 401k? Is there a step-by-step document perhaps that we could reference? So unfortunately, there's no step-by-step document that we have. But if you're doing it directly from Horizon Trust, we do have our direction of investment form. If you're using the direction of investment form, it does outline everything that we need in order to process the purchase of the property. So it's going to be normal documentation relating to the closing of the property. So a HUD, settlement agreement, all of that information is going to be required. The primary difference that you're going to want to make note of is that Horizon Trust will sign all the documentation on behalf of your account. So even though it is Claudia's 401k or Alex Padilla's Roth IRA that are making the investment, the document must be titled with Horizon Trust, FBO, Alex Padilla, Roth IRA, and then Horizon Trust will sign as the buyer of the property. So that's the only difference between buying it personally or from an LLC and buying it through your self-directed account. So that's one thing that you'll kind of want to consider. And maybe we'll work on building out a step-by-step guide, because that is something that comes up quite often with a lot of our clients. They want to know how to purchase a property, because we do tend to talk about real estate a lot within our community. Greg is a big real estate individual. So that could be something very useful for those individuals that are here with us today. So we'll go ahead and do that. And with that, that kind of wraps up our last question. If we didn't get a chance to get to your question, we do apologize. There just isn't enough time to get to every question. We'll look over the questions and see if we can get back to everyone who submitted a question if we didn't answer it. And if we did, thank you for submitting your question. We do really appreciate you being on here today, joining us and providing value to not only yourself, but to those that are in here as well, also watching, and to the community that is being built. So with that said, Claudia, I think it's time for our giveaway.
All right.
What do you think?
I think we have a lot of unanswered questions, so you guys need to go ahead and set up an appointment with our IRA specialist. I feel bad that we can't do all of them, but we do want to be respectful of everybody's time. It is 4:56 over here at Horizon Trust time and Pacific Standard Time. So I know that some of you guys are joining us from East Coast, from Florida, from everywhere. So we definitely are very mindful of everybody's time, and we want to make sure that we don't go over. So if we didn't get your question answered, just go ahead and schedule an appointment, and I'll have somebody from my team get on the phone with you. All right. So how do we do this? You're like the master spin the wheel kind of person.
So unfortunately, I'm on this side of the screen this time, so I can't spin the wheel, but
Okay.
we are definitely still able to pick a number. So Claudia, as a guest, well, no, you're kind of always on a webinar, but you know what? You're still my guest on the Q&A sessions.
Yes, I am.
Because normally the Q&A sessions is my shindig. So Claudia, as my guest, I did just say shindig.
All right.
So go ahead and pick a number between 1 and 120.
1 and 120. I am going to pick 73.
73. All right. One quick second. Yes, I did just say shindig, and it was very interesting.
Greg would have loved that if he was here.
Listen, I know I said my age earlier, and some people are going to be like, wait, what? He's only 29? What? How is he qualified to be on here? I've been in this industry for a minute, everyone, so it happens.
He's an old soul for sure.
And I am an old soul. But I saw a video this morning that someone called an ad, someone's child called an ad a TV vacation. They were watching a movie that was free so long as you watched it with ads. And then when the ad popped up, the child asked their parent, "Why is that TV vacation on?" And I was so baffled by hearing that word that it broke my mind.
What is that? I don't even know.
It's an ad, a commercial. They had no idea what a commercial break is. They had no idea how the ads worked. They're so used to streaming and just seeing things without ads that they thought it was a TV vacation because they didn't know what a commercial was. So I'm like, oh my God, this is a real thing. So, all right. And then I'm sorry, Claudio. So the answer 73. So that is going to be Chris. So Chris, God, my vision is going. Chris Simons, I believe.
Chris Simons, yes, that's what it says.
There it is. So Chris Simons, let's see. I'm gonna grant you access to speak. If you're able to speak, we'd love to talk to you real quick. So you're able to unmute yourself, and then we can. Hey, Chris, how are you doing?
Excellent. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. How are you doing, sir?
Doing great. I'm I'm
Thank you. s-
very grateful to win. Whatever. Was
Yeah. Did we answer your questions? Is there anything that we can answer in this last couple minutes?
well, I have uh, a checkbook savings LLC with you guys, and I haven't gotten my funds to um, make any investments at the moment. But and then also I just transferred over an additional traditional 401k over to another account. So I'm in the process of getting those funds working. And I guess a good question is I'm working with real estate investors and they want a JV partner with me or possibly just fund some of their deals. Um, what type of paperwork would I need for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do hear that a lot as well. That is something that a lot of people tend to do here at Horizon. So it's just going to be your joint venture agreement if you're doing a JV, or if you're just doing kind of like promissory note lending that is
Got it.
either secured by the property or unsecured, then you're just going to want to look at those angles. So if it's a promissory note, you can kind of find templates for that available online to be able to access. If the document is going to be secured by a property, so that way your money is secured, then there's going to be some sort of securing document that lists your account as kind of a protector of that funds. So that'll be kind of what it is. But it's relatively simple, and we have our operations team for document review that is very skilled in this area, so they'll be able to assist you. So once you're ready to make this investment, you can give us a call. Even if you're not fully ready to make the investment, but you just want to make sure that you have everything in order, you can give us a call, speak with our transactions team. They're the ones that review all the documentation, make sure everything's in good order and compliant within your account. And they can tell you what's going to be needed, or if you've already submitted documents, what may be missing to complete the investment and make sure that it's good.
Perfect. That's great. That's excellent information.
All right, Chris. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you being a part of the Horizon Trust. We hope your money kind of arrives soon. And if you need any further assistance in that, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're more than happy to assist. Claudia and I were on the phones helping clients today. So you will hear our voices, not just you, but everyone else. So Chris, thank you again. We'll hear from you, and everyone else. Thank you so much for being with us today and kind of sharing some of your evening with us. So we really appreciate you being here. Claudia, thank you for also being here. I always appreciate having you.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. So we'll have to do this again soon.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thanks
Thank
again,
you.
guys. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, everyone. Have a great
Good
day.
night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. There's lots more great content for you to learn and enjoy and apply to. And so anyways, click on the link below and listen to more videos or set an appointment with us. We look forward to hearing from you and also helping you.